بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
My name is Amy. Oh my god.
Okay, so I'm from a Hindu family, so they don't really eat beef or pork actually. So that was kind of easy. Initially, the challenging part for me was the alcohol actually, not really food, because when we gather as a family, we usually drink and celebrate. I won't say I miss it, especially with the hangover and everything, but definitely it is kind of awkward when I go for family gatherings. Yeah, so it's that being normal when there's a family gathering in that perspective.
Well, I mean, okay, it's been 4 years, right? So, like, I would say that foods that I really miss, right? Because I haven't had them for so long, right? I've really forgotten how they taste, and I get this question a lot. You know, like, do you miss pork? You know, but like, the thing is, you can't miss something that you forgotten the taste of, and it's been so long. So like, I don't really remember how pork tastes. But there are foods that, like, if let's say I go around Singapore, right, and I see a restaurant, I'm like, oh man, that restaurant looks good, you know, but it's not halal, right?
Actually, for Indian food, most of it, you can actually get halal versions because they are Indian Muslims as well, since the very beginning. So there's nothing that I really miss.
But what I miss the most is like maybe the sui chun, the mi suan kueh. Yeah, oh my god. Then the pi tan zhou, and then bak kut teh.
Oi, I tried everything already.
I love Hainanese chicken rice. My favorite food was actually my hawker center downstairs, the store that I ate growing up. Then suddenly, like one day, I just stopped eating because I became a Muslim. I couldn't eat. They also did sell like what's that, char siu rice also, right? And then like me and the owner started to drift apart. And then one day he saw me going to the Muslim chicken rice store. I think that's when his heart shattered.
Actually, I feel like I don't really miss anything in particular. But sometimes once in a while when I'm in the shopping mall, I pass by a certain place. Like yesterday I passed by Song Fa Bak Kut Teh and I was like, oh, that looks good. I can't eat it.
Cook by my own, so I actually find substitute.
Good alternate actually have teh tarik. That's the best, man.
What I do to curb my cravings for these foods would be to make them at home. So I try to cook.
It's not a hindrance, rather it opened my eyes to more kinds of diverse food.
For me, I always had Muslim friends since the very beginning, so this was normal for me. I always had friends who went out to pray at times, so yeah, no problem for me.
My entire social circle before I became Muslim they were essentially all non-Muslim. So initially, very tough. Like, do you show that you have now become a Muslim by praying, or like stop eating halal? Then like after you do that, then like there comes the barrage of questions. Oh, what can you do? What can you not do now? And everything, right? So initially, I guess like it gets easier when you learn more and you start to feel that you want to be Muslim. Then you start to identify with being a Muslim, and that is your identity now. Then you start caring less because you are more focused on doing the right things. Yeah.
When it comes to maybe Chinese friends, it will be difficult because they'll be like, oh, I want to eat this, you want to eat this one? And I'm like, sorry, I don't know halal, I cannot eat.
I mean, like, I don't think this has anything to do with the fact that I'm Chinese. I think as a Muslim, if I were to go out with my friends who are not Muslim, right, then like I would need to pray and they wouldn't be praying, So I would say that like the difficulties might come where, when we want to make plans, and I have to factor in a place to pray, a time to pray, places that we want to eat,
I honestly, right, when I'm in SMU, I think the minorities there, like us as Muslims, are very few of us. So sometimes I have to interact with a lot of non-Muslims there. And sometimes when I do projects with them, I have to go for lunch and dinner, and sometimes I have to separate from them. So it is sometimes very hard because I don't want to feel obliged to make sure that they have to eat halal food just because I'm there.
When I go out with my colleagues at work, so that's where it gets a bit of a challenge where when there's company events, they usually go to like non-halal establishments. But yeah, once in a while they do cater in halal food, or the other alternative would be for me to actually just join them for the fun of it instead of eating. Yeah.
Right now, I'm working for a Philippine company right now. So I would say their culture is very different than ours. They were very interested in, what Muslims do, our culture here in Singapore. So I don't think it was very hard.
School staff. So I'm from SMU. So SMU has a small group of Muslims, and it's located in an area where like a lot of like non-Islamic activities happen. So yeah, in that kind of environment where you have to juggle, you don't want to seem like you're out of place, but at the same time you want to keep your Muslim identity. It's always a challenge. How we try to keep each other reminded as SMU Muslims. We try to ensure that all of us are at least doing something out of our school life that is Islamic, like go for classes once a week.
At work is quite a big issue for me personally, because I work shift work. So and the environment where I work in is very fast paced. So there are times when I don't have time to like sit down for lunch or dinner, and let alone like prayer times. My colleagues, some of them are understanding lah. Like especially during Ramadan, our managers made it a point to, if we are working afternoon shift, so 7 p.m. all the Muslim colleagues they must go to breakfast. But they didn't know I was fasting. So sometimes they would go, but I wouldn't dare to go with them. So I will breakfast a little bit later. I remember there was one time during Ramadan, both of us were working in the same shift. She went to breakfast already. Then she saw me still working. Then she was like, "Can you please go break fast? I go serve your medication for you. You go first." Yeah. And then like I don't know why, but I felt so touched. Like this simple thing is like, it shows that they accept me as like part of their community. Like even though like it's like it's not been long since I start practicing.
No, not at all actually. I think schools are probably one of the easiest place to practice Islam, because with regards to prayer spaces, at least for SUTD, right, which is the university that I am at, like there's a designated prayer room. So anytime I want, I just go there. So I don't think like with regards to prayer it's difficult. And halal food options are also everywhere in my school.
Not really. So interestingly, my old company, right? So my boss was actually from China. He came to Singapore when he was 18 years old. Just grew up here, and he was very flexible with me, going out to pray and stuff like that. So it was, alhamdulillah, very easy for me.
Okay, so I was transparent in terms of the conversion with my boss. He was okay with it. He's a free thinker. He was okay with it, and I actually explained to him that the certain things, there's not really many things that changes apart from perhaps the Friday prayers as well as the Zohor and Asr whenever I'm out. But the real problem comes in when the clients are very demanding. They want like this timing to be met. Then I have to like call them up, and yeah.
Yes, they are. Alhamdulillah, they are very acceptive lah. Chinese New Year, they bought halal chicken bones for the Buddha jump over head. Alhamdulillah, super nice.
Yeah, of course. We don't have pork in our house. And I think that's a huge decision for a family to make. To cut out one whole meat. I think that's great. I'm very grateful for that. But of course, my mom doesn't always eat halal food, and that's totally fair. She does more than she needs to already. But I try to make it up to her by cooking it for her.
Yeah, they are actually. So previously they used to buy chicken from a Chinese butcher, but then after converted to Islam, they have been starting to buy from halal Muslim butchers or halal certified chicken.
They don't go out of their way to accommodate, but they are okay in terms of like I say I don't want to eat pork. I want to eat can you buy me, can you dabao for me chicken or fish? Then okay lah. Then my sister also, she's very nice. She'll tell me, oh, this one I cook with the pork oil, sorry.
I think the only change was in terms of the meat itself, like chicken. They are now also looking out for halal variants, because they also, when I explain to them like in a very generic way, where you know the halal chicken, one good thing is it's away from all the pork products, which they also would actually prefer. Yeah, so in terms of that, the adjustment was pretty okay.
I started off not eating pork entirely after I took my shahada, but I didn't eat full halal first because I didn't know how to determine that was there, and I think I wasn't like prepared for it to take that step. So my family was okay, so just make sure that my food didn't have pork lah, but all the the proper procedures to be held out, they didn't have to do it. So when I got serious, then it was a big change. Honestly, it's a pretty big change. All the pots and pans you have to change out. You have to make sure that the meat doesn't get in contact with each other and all. And how I ease them into it is that every day, like we change something. Like I'll bring a fork back home, and then suddenly like a spoon will appear in the kitchen, and then it's labeled halal, and then suddenly there's a halal corner and all, right. And the final step was the meat. So my grandma's been buying from the non-halal butcher for years. And I'm just like, hey, you should buy from the non-halal butcher. Right? I'll top up the difference for you. And then she's like, no lah, she's my friend. She said no, she's my friend. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand. Okay, how about you buy additional portion from the halal butcher? Then you're settled. Yeah. So it's tough, but I guess at 1% a day, eventually it adds up to a lot. Yeah.
No, as a matter of fact, I think I feel so much confident and I feel so much more happier in the way that I dress, because now I do make the effort to dress appropriately, to dress well. I would say that last time I used to be a person who loved to wear shorts, who loved to wear, not say revealing clothes, but just, you know what I mean. So like not covering the aura. So now that I have to, I tell myself that I have to wear jeans every day. I try to wear long sleeve shirts. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel more confident in terms of self-esteem.
So for me, I used to go out a lot in shorts, so my knees won't be covered and stuff like that. But eventually, I bought tights and my shorts on top of it, so it'll be covered, right? So from there, I slowly moved. Sometimes I still, when I don't have my joggers with me, I still wear my tights, then wear my shorts and go out. As long as it's covered, right? So yeah, that was the only challenge in, appearing in public in a Islamic manner.
I think no, I think it's kind of a protection for me, especially because normally I have to take out my hijab, then I can go back home. That was like a few years ago. But whenever I took out my hijab, I felt that something is missing. So I thought that maybe this is the hijab lah. So I was right, it's a hijab that is like something missing.
I mean, like for the men, I don't think it's very difficult at all. It's just like come wear shorts.
Say I actually am comfortable with longer pants, but at home, that's a drastic change, because at home I usually just wear those army shorts. Yeah. So that was the most comfortable one. But right now, when I wear that, then I do have to think about changing out so that I can pray, because it definitely has to be below the knees. Yeah. So I kind of made an adjustment in that sense where I switched over to just buying more or wearing more of bermudas, those kind of stuff.
Not at all. In fact, I feel happier, strangely, ironically, yeah. The simplicity of it is what attracts me. There are many ways that people can express themselves through their clothes while still being modest at the same time. You might see that, covering is very restrictive, very too traditional and all, but actually there's so much that people can express themselves with.
I didn't own a pair of jeans. I never owned like a pair of shorts or pants that were longer than my knee, because I didn't believe that we're so hot in Singapore, right? So you don't even want to wear anything that makes you even hotter. So I was always in short sleeves or even singlet most of the time, and I'll be in shorts. So definitely there were trouble, right, with Islamic attire. It's just a matter of getting used to it, I think, for the...
Yes, especially when taxi uncle started to hear me speaking Mandarin. It's like, I thought you are Malay. You speak Chinese. I thought you are Malay because you wear tudung. Then I say no lah, I'm a Chinese uncle. Yeah, I convert lah because I like the religion. I'm looking for religion.
Yes. Of course. For those who know me lah, I mean previously, they would ask lah, definitely. They'll be like, oh, is it because you're dating someone, you know? Or why are you wearing that? Yeah. But I'll just explain to them lah, I'm practicing and hoping to convert soon lah. So, in a way, it's like I'm trying to prepare myself lah. Actually, it's out of good intentions lah. They just want to understand what you're doing.